guys, it's Rose. Welcome back to my channel. So I have been working away on my Gothic ephemera, or sorry, my Gothic Lapbook stroke folio, and I made this matchbook style notebook to go in it. It slips into a belly band. I will show you all that in another video. But I'm going to make another one, and I said I would film the process for you guys. So it is a long and narrow matchbook style notebook. As you can see, it's all decorated up, and the part I really wanted to show you guys today, because some of you may not know how to do this, it is perfect bound. It is a perfect bound notebook, so there's no stapling, there's no sewing or anything like that in here. So I just thought it was an interesting and different way to do it. There are 10 pages in here and they're all staying in nicely. They can be torn off for use or not. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that, and we'll be decorating it as well. Its decoration, it will be very similar to what I have done here. So there will be no umming and ahhing about it, okay? Okay, so let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is actually perfect bind the pages. Now I have the pages already cut out. Unfortunately, I cut my paper the wrong way around, and this is going to be a shorter notebook than the other one, but that's okay. So I have 10 pages here. They are 3 3/4, I think, by 8 inches. So they're cut. As long as this edge matches up, it doesn't really matter what's going on with the rest of it. But I have them cut pretty, they're not exact, but they're pretty close. So get this edge nice and neat, and we are going to clip on either side, not too close to the top part, and you will see why shortly. So on either side we have a clip. Now I'm just going to put out some glue on my desk, and I'm going to put it on this because it's not very easy to clean off my glass mat, which is very strange, but we'll put it on here. And you can use any glue you like for this. I like using a thicker, tackier glue because it doesn't wrinkle the edge of my pages. But you work away with whatever glue you have, whatever glue works for you. So I'm going to hold the pages on one side because I'm going to need my other hand for the brush, and I'm going to bend, not fold, but I'm going to bend the pages down towards me so that they're slightly fanned here at the top. And I'm going to just brush some glue onto those tiny edges, making sure they all get covered. And yes, I'm getting glue on the back, but I'm okay with that. I will be gluing this down anyway. Probably get it on the other side too. So you need to make sure that you have glue on all those edges. Don't stick your brush in between the papers as much as possible, because that will just make the head of your notebook very messy, and it will make it hard to flip it as well. So just making sure there is plenty, not too much on it, enough but not too much, and that as far as possible you've gotten all those edges. Okay, so that's that. Then we're going to flip it to the other side and do the exact same thing. Just going to take some of that glue off there. We're going to fold it back, or bend it back towards ourselves. Get some more glue and do the very same thing. You can do this as well for larger projects, but I would probably use maybe a different glue, a different kind of clamping method, things like that. But there are videos out there about that if you're interested in doing it on a larger scale, you know. Okay, so that is that. Now I'm just going to get a piece of a rag and take as much of that glue away as I can. just on the outside edge. I'm not touching the top, leaving the top alone. And I am going to move my little clamps, my clips, just up to the top. Just as a little extra insurance. You can pinch it shut here if you think it's not properly together up there, if the pages aren't properly held together. Just give it a little pinch, and if you use a tackier glue or one that goes tacky as it dries, that will help a lot. Okay, so we're going to set this aside for now, and we're going to get started on the cover. Now I have pieces cut for the cover, and I had intended on doing it the same dimensions as this, but obviously I have cut my paper the wrong size, so we're going to have to do this on the fly. So all I'm going to do, I'm actually just going to bring my papers back. I'm having this at the front, and much of a muchness. We'll put this at the bottom. I'm going to measure my pages against it to get the right height. Now I'm leaving a little gap down here, and I'm going to leave a little gap at the top. So we're making it a teeny bit longer at the top and the bottom than the actual pages. Okay, there's my mark for that one. Next step, we have to score this. And I'm putting a tiny little spine on it just to allow room for the pages. So we're scoring it there. That's my first score, and oh, you can't see that, guys, sorry. So I have one score line here just at the mark that I made, and I'm going to come at one mark on my scoreboard. I think that's 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to go one mark extra on the shorter piece of this. Sorry, I should have actually told you at the start. This piece of paper was just cut from a 12 by 12. It is 4 inches wide, and it is a full 12 inches long. Okay, and I cut the whole piece into 3 strips of 4 inches wide by 12. So that's what we're working with. We're working with 2 of those strips. So we have a 12 by 4, and we're scoring at, if you have it this way, your first score, if your pages are the same as mine. So your first score is at the height of your pages plus a little bit, and then 1/8 of an inch as well to the shorter side. Okay, that is that. Now let's get these folded and situated. Okay, so that is that part. Now this is going on the back. So if I show you here, this is the front of my folder. It's going to fold over like this, and that will be the front cover. We have more decorating to do, obviously, but we need to bring the back down here and the flip up for the front part. Okay, so we get our second piece of a card. That is straight. It is. We have our second piece of card, and I'm just going to join it. Now I'm not worried about the join here. I'm not worried about how good or how bad or how indifferent it looks. It's going to be covered. So I'm going to bring it up relatively close to the top, simply because it gives a little bit of extra strength, and it gets hidden when I glue my book in, my notebook, sorry. So that looks pretty good there. I'm just going to give a little mark with the pencil just to give myself a guide for the glue. And I have still got glue here, so I might as well use that. And I'm going to give it a good coating of glue, get it all stuck down that it's not going to move anywhere. Now if you want to cut some of this off, you can by all means. I just didn't bother. Or you can just bring your join down a little bit down the page. I just think it looks better if it's at the top. Okay. That. Get our other page, our other sheet, sorry, and we get that situated up here. Just make sure it's flush at the sides as much as possible. Now, because my cutting skills are not the best, I do have a tiny little overlap, but we can trim that off in a little while. That will be fine. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's that. Now I need to decide where my next score line is going to go to bring this part up. And I'm just going to leave a little gap here. And I'm going to make it, it's roughly 1/8 of an inch. So I'm just going to mark it there. And we're going to do the same thing here that we did at this side. We're going to make that little spine piece. So our mark here is at the exact 4-inch mark. And I'm going to come 1 notch closer to myself on the short side. And I'm going to do that as well. Now I technically should have turned my paper over this way to do that, so the folds will be folding the right way, but I did not. I also tore my paper. I'll fix that at a later stage. So yeah, when you're scoring card and things like that, make sure you have your bone folder or whatever it is that you're using to score it, not pointing straight down, but at a nice little angle like that. I just tore my card doing that there. I'm going to have to figure out a fix for that. I'm just trying to think, what will I do? It's going to be on the back, but it will come up the lip here. Do I want it on the inside or the outside? And it's unfortunate because it's on the score itself, but all I'm going to do with that is take a piece of fabric, and this is just some fabric that I tend to use a lot for hinges and things like that. I have a piece there, but I don't like the shape of it, which is very weird, I know. So I just cut a piece off. It's a piece of a curtain, to be honest. It's the lining of a curtain, and I just have the curtain down there to snip pieces off when I need things like this. Okay, these are the things. It's these kind of little patches, to me, to my mind, that makes these kind of items special. These are the kind of things that when I see them in older books and things like that, I get really excited about them. So I look at these kind of, you know, these little accidents, these accidental tears and things. I see them as opportunities to make my vintage look more authentic. The next thing to do is get the cover image on. Now I do have the cover image cut, and I have it cut at 8 inches this way because that is the size of my page. I'm using my Gothic I can actually just have that there. I'm using my Gothic Papers pack and the Gothic Ephemera to do these. So this is one of the pages from the kit. I have just taken a slice from it and I'm going to use it as the front of this little booklet. Let's see how far that, yeah, I might cut a piece of this off, I'm not sure yet. Just cut a piece of it off. Okay, so I'm going to bring it down here and it's all inked up and everything already. Just need to get some glue on it, and I'm going to use this glue for this. This is PVA Bond by ARC. I cannot find it anywhere. It was bought in a local hardware store. Don't think they even have it anymore. But it is PVA Bond by ARC, and it is PVA Bond primer, sealer, bonder and adhesive. Builders use it on building sites. So it's basically a PVA glue with, it doesn't seem any stronger than regular PVA glue, but it is a little bit thicker. A little bit. It's not as thick as a tacky glue. So I'm just going to get a good lot of this on here. Okay, so I'm going to stand up for this piece so that I can get it positioned correctly. Get this up out of here. Get that glue wiped up. And here is my piece. Now, this is the bottom, this is the top. And I'm just going to lay it down where I want it. Make sure it's straight. Lovely. That's perfect. Beautiful. Okay. Oh, is it actually a little bit crooked, but I'm okay with that. It'll be fine. We're crafting here, we're not working in a factory. Okay, now I'm going to cut a piece of this off. I do actually have a piece cut for the front of this, so I'm going to go buy this. It's obviously, I cut these pieces before I realised that I cut my papers wrong, so that, and that is going on here. Just making sure I'm butting it up to the right. I'm not actually butting it up, but make sure I'm measuring from the right score line down here. Now, as I said, I have this piece cut and measured. It's actually 2 1/4 by 3 3/4, but you need to cut it to whatever dimensions you like yourself. Okay, I don't want to cut this all the way down because of the image that's at the back. So I'm going to need another piece of that. But I need to figure out first where I want this. So I don't want it coming below there. Yeah, that's about right. Okay, and I'm going to mark it with my pencil. Take this out of here and silly me. Okay, so I'm just going to cut that piece off. Now I use a cutting board because my paper trimmers that I have had no luck at all with paper trimmers. They've all been janky in some way, shape or form, and the one that I have currently doesn't cut straight. It's not square, so it takes forever to line it up, and then it doesn't work properly. Anyway, cutting with the scissors always goes wrong for me. I am just not good with cutting a straight line with scissors, so I use cutting mat and a knife. Isn't it great that we have options like that available to us, that there isn't just one way to do it? Same with all things crafting, I think. There isn't just one way to achieve a certain look or whatever. Okay. So is that correct? Yes. Now the reason I didn't want that coming below there is because behind this window there, in the picture, there are two little girls, and I didn't want it kind of coming down and half cutting them off. So I think that will make a nice front. That's that. Now I am rounding these corners. There we go. And on the last one I didn't round the corners of the image. Didn't do it here again. I told myself I needed to round the corners and I never did it. But it actually doesn't look too bad to me, so I'm going to go ahead and do these anyway. And these. Now, as you can see, I have most of the inking actually done, but I'm going to have to ink this edge now because I've cut it. And those little rounded corners on the inside as well. Very quickly. The next thing we need to do is put in our... Oh no, this is the next thing. Rose, wake up. Yes, I need to cut another piece of that. And I have some, luckily, right here. So the width is going to have to be the same, about 3 3/4. But the height... is going to be slightly different. I might as well go ahead and mark this as well. Okay. I hadn't intended on having to do this part, this cutting on the video, but we shall go with it. Et voila. Around these corners, just these top two, and I'm using the 10mm corner on my punch. That will sit like so, but that is too plain for me, so we need to do something else to it. Okay, so I have here a stencil even. This is one that I got on Wish, so I can't link this for you guys, I'm afraid. Now I just want something on the front. It doesn't have to be perfect. So we'll do that. Now I'm going to stick this down with some washi, just because I can. I have a tendency to just move the stencil on myself. Just going to get it stuck down. Okay, anyway, there we go. That's that. I have my Versamark. Just going to push the Versamark through the stencil. So I'm going to pull up my stencil. Keep my washi tape. I'll use that again. In fact, I probably had some there that I could have used. Didn't think of it. Okie dokie. Stencil out of the way. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad. That'll do the job I'm looking for it to do, I think. Now I'm using black embossing powder simply because my clear embossing powder seems to go milky. I don't know if it is down to how old it is or whether there's something in it. I don't know, but I'm not happy with it. So I'm just using the black on the black, which is quite handy at the moment. Okay, and we have a heat tool. Don't worry, I won't make you listen to it. I will turn down the sound or forward it or whatever. Okay, so that is all heat embossed, and it just gives a little something extra to the background. That it's not just a plain piece of card. And there we have it. It's going to be on there. Now I had a piece picked out for this, but I was assuming that it was going to be smaller because I hadn't realised at the time that we had got the paper, that I had got the papers wrong. I don't know if, actually that looks pretty good. I like it. Now I do have another piece that I wanted to use, or that I thought that I'd use on there, and it turned out to be too big on the smaller piece. So I'm just going to check and see, do I want to use it here? One of these. These are all included in the ephemera pack, the Gothic ephemera pack. And I actually quite like that. Which is better? Yeah, I still think that's better. Okay. You also have this, which would look really cool, but I'm going to be putting a big brad in the middle of it, so not going to work really. Okay, so I have this fussy cut out, but I don't have it inked around the edges. So let's get that done. Yeah, that's going to look lovely. Okay, let's get this glue down. Okay, that's down well enough. Let's get our centerpiece down. These little rosettes, I adore them. They look awesome on the pages that I've used. I've actually only used them on one page and given one in the ephemera, and I just love them. I think they're fabulous, and I couldn't find any more quite like this one. Okay. Ooh. I don't know if that's stuck to the mustard on, yeah. Oh no, that's okay. I will get some ink to it. It will be fine. So again, we're just going to press that down. Okay, that is all glued down. Now, next we need to put in our holes for our brads. And I am using my crocodile. You can just poke it with a pokey tool, like I have 2 or 3 of them, like this. You just poke a hole. But I have my crocodile and I love it, so I'm going to use it. So obviously this one is marked. I'm using the 1/8 of an inch hole, or the 1/8 of an inch punch. So that's that one. I need to figure out where I'm going to put my other brad. Now that is something I didn't think of, isn't it? Because it's going to end up being directly on this butterfly or this insect, which we really don't want. Okay, so for this I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm not putting a brad on the top. I will put the brad here. These brads are just, they were cheapy ones that I got in our local kind of pound shop or €2 shop or discount store or thrift, not thrift shop. It'd be like a dollar store in America, I guess. And they're from Icon Craft. I don't know if they're available everywhere. I really don't know. But see quite a lot of them here in Ireland anyway. So they're from Icon Craft. They're called Gem Brads. I've had them for a few years. I don't know if they're still available. If I can find them, I will link them. So we're going to get this in here. Push down my leggies. I'm going to push that down quite well and flatten it out as much as possible. Sometimes I will use a pliers to get these flat, the legs, but because it's too far in, pliers wouldn't work here, but just pressing it down onto a hard surface like that from the opposite side works. I really like how that looks. Yeah, I'm enjoying that. I need my Sharpie for that little piece. I had coated this with a wax coating. Excuse me. So the ink isn't sticking to it anymore. So I'm going to need to use a Sharpie to get rid of that white piece. That's okay. Here we go. Beautiful. Perfect. So that's that. Now, the new plan is magnets. I'm actually using magnets quite a bit in this project. Look at that, and it actually sticks to the brad. How cool is that? Okay, so would that be enough then, I wonder? If I put would that be enough to keep it closed? I don't think it actually would. I think it's going to need the second magnet. Yeah. Fun with magnets. That's our tutorial for today, guys. Oh. Obviously, if you're putting two magnets in, you need to make sure that you have the right sides facing each other, that they're not repelling each other instead of staying together. Okay, it's going to have to be two magnets. Okay, so a magnet it is. Just going to get this stuck down, and I'm using Dove Craft Ultimate Craft Glue for this. Again, I will link it below. It is kind of like, it reminds me of Glossy Accents, but it doesn't behave nicely in that you can't get a nice even surface with it, but it sticks quite well. So, and it's good for using with metal and things like that. Or at least that's what I use it for. So I'm going to get a bit of that on there. Hopefully this magnet will stick here and not be too bulky. Of course, it helps that it is magnetizing to the brad, because not going to keep moving. I can just do this and move around. Now, when I use the brads as a closure on things like this, I tend to put a piece of fabric on the card before I punch the hole, so that the card, the brad can't pull through the card at any point. It just gives it a little bit of extra, but we don't need it here because I'm not using it as the closure. I'm going to be magnetizing. So that's that. Now, how to go about this? This is going to be fun. How to figure out where this goes. I think waiting until this is dry might be a good idea. Now, what am I going to put over this? Because again, this wasn't something I had done in the last one. So you guys are having the benefit of seeing me think on my feet. Okay, I could just do the whole panel to enclose this. And I do have that paper, this. So, what do you guys think? Should I just do that? Cut a piece. I could have it the same as the outside, which might be nice. Yeah, I think I'll actually do that because I have the opportunity to do it. I'm just going to line it up and marking it. Get her situated. Get it situated. Mind my diction. That's that. There is a little bit of overhang here that I just need to trim off. But not very much at all. Tiny bit. Ring that edge. Okay. Now because obviously I have the bread in there, it's not very easy to press down on the other side. Just make sure it's pressed down nicely to give good adhesion. And we are looking pretty good. Okie dokie. Yeah, I don't mind that. I actually quite like that's the outside paper now. See, opportunities. Now, let's get these magnets situated. So it's going to need to be that way. That way needs to be facing the cover. It's going to be so funny if I don't get this right. Now I have a little secret method that I use, and I use it for quite a few different things. This is one. Get a pencil. The softer the pencil, the better. 4B, 8B, that kind of thing. Just put a dot, mark a dot on your metal piece, magnet. I do it on paper, even it works on paper too. Put it into the place you want it. Get this down, get this flipped over. Magnet is connected there, I can feel it. So open it without moving that magnet underneath and then press down on it. And voila, you have a mark to know where to put your magnet. Genius. Not my idea, I'm sure, but genius nonetheless. So, make sure you're putting the right side of the magnet to the paper. Get your glue on there. Should probably put the glue on the paper itself, but okay. Job's a good one there. I'm going to leave that to set up. Just take a look at our pages, guys, and see if they're doing okay. Yeah, they're nicely put together now. It's just the tiniest bit of glue, so it can be torn off. Love it. Love, love, love it. Brilliant. Let's put it away. Now, what to put on the inside of that cover that will hide that magnet. Okay, so I have a little booklet here of a little photo album thing of all the ephemera for this project, the ephemera from the kit. And I have these seals, which are pretty awesome. I think I'm actually going to use one of those in there. I have one with a pattern on it. Do I want that? So I did a red one, a red one and a black one, and the red ones, one of them is blank. You can stamp onto whatever or whatever. The other one has a pattern on it. So I'm actually going to use that. Now, I have this printed on paper, and I'm going to back this onto some cardboard. Or some light card, I should say, really. Not even cardboard. And the only reason I'm doing that is because we needed to hide the bump of the magnet. Oh my lord. We needed to hide the bump of the magnet, but yet be able to be adhered properly as well at the same time. So just going to smoosh out that glue. Frog in my throat. Sorry guys. Get that line down there. We'll get this fussy cut out. Okay, let's ink up the edges of this. Thought I was doing well getting all prepared, and then I get a spanner in my works as usual. So here we have this, and this is going to be like this when you open up the open up the notebook, and I really like that. Awesome. Let's get some glue on here. I'm going to put a dab of the other glue on the magnet as well, just to stick that to the paper. Use our trusty fabric glue for this one. And get that nicely down into place. Now I'm going to leave it dry again for another little bit because we don't want those magnets moving. But in the meantime, we can get our notebook situated. So I had a little bit more glue along this edge than I did along this one, so I'm going to stick that side down. Kind of centralize it a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm just going to run more glue across the top of this. Now you can actually glue all the ways down this page if you want. You can glue the whole page to the booklet, to the cover. But I am just doing the very top of the page. Just going to get it situated from the bottom up. Make sure I have it where I want it. And make sure that there's a little gap between this hinge down here and this hinge up here. So that is that. Okay, I'm going to pop away and get a cup of coffee, I think, while I'm waiting for that just to dry enough that we can close it up. And I'll be right back to you guys. Okay, so I've got my coffee. And our little didgeridoo is all glued up, and it closes up quite nicely. You can hear the little clack. Love it. I'm like a child when it comes to magnets. I love them. And not the pretty ones that you stick on the fridge or anything like that, just magnets. themselves. I love them. So much fun to play with. Okay, so that is that. The last thing we need to do here is I want something across the top of here. Now on the other one I had this lovely trim. It came from a choker necklace that it came from like a Halloween costume type thing, I think. And obviously that's not going to work here. Well, actually it might, because this is quite blank. Let's have a look and see. I do have more of it. So let's have a look, see. I had initially thought that I would use this on the front of the journal, but I decided against it. Now I might use this piece anyway, but we'll see. And would that work? I think that actually does work. What do you guys think? I like it. I'm going to go for it. Ha! Who would have thunk? I thought I was going to have an awful nightmare trying to figure out what I wanted to do up there. But no. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So we're going to have a little spidery on that side this time. On the same side. How's that? I thought they'd be on different sides. Interesting. Anyway, so there we go. We're going to have it there. It's a little bit short here. If I do it over there, it's going to look lopsided. So I'm going to center it. And I'm just going to use it as that. So I need to snip it roughly the same. We're going to have, yeah, we're going to snip it roughly the same. So I can tell by that side how much I need. I'm going to cut it just here, and we have another little piece left over. And we're just going to get that glued down there. Now I'm not going to make you guys watch me gluing that down. I will do it off camera. But there we have our Matchbook Perfect Bound notebook. Magnetized. Which wasn't planned, but you know. Okay guys, that's it for me for today. I hope you'll join me for the process video I will be uploading for the Lapbook stroke folio. That first notebook will actually, the making of this will probably be in there as well, but I just wanted to give you a detailed tutorial on that, just because I thought it was a nice idea, and the perfect binding is a nice way to do them as well. Okay, so that's it from me. Please do give a thumbs up on the video and leave a comment down below for me if you liked the project that I'm doing. Really helps my channel if you interact with the video in some way like that. And subscribe if you haven't already. Come back and see the rest of the Lapbook stroke folio. It's going to be awesome. Alright guys, talk to you soon. Bye!